Hey, this is Jared over at E-Carrier Check, and we're talking with Zach Feyerherm from Sparrow Logistics. Zach, thank you for being on today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I was excited to hear your story. I know you're a new startup. We deal with a lot of brokers that are just kind of getting up and going. Zach, I would love for you just to kind of give us, your background, why Sparrow Logistics started. I love the logo, by the way. Maybe you can give us an understanding of that, but just give us your background. Tell me what's going on in your
Yeah. So it's been a fun. Anybody that's in transportation knows how fun transportation and logistics can be. It's just something you don't know exists until you start doing it. And I've told everybody that I've had the privilege of mentoring or managing that this is an industry that you either get in and you just love it, or it's just, you're going to find out that it's just not for you. But for me, it's stuck. So this is Sparrow is really the culmination of going up on 15 years of experience just in transportation. Started on the freight forwarder side, did an internship with an international freight forwarder in Chicago. All the way back in 2007. It's crazy to think about that, but didn't really know what I was doing just on the international side. Knew I didn't want to be in Chicago, knew I wanted to be in Omaha. The company that I interned for, blessed for that experience. But came back to Omaha and got hooked up with a domestic freight forwarder. And really that's where I developed what I would say one of our knacks at Sparrow is our expedited mindset, and I track that back to that domestic air freight forwarding I did many moons back, where you're dealing with air freight. You hear the line, plants are shutting down and all that stuff, but that's really where it came from. You're going to shut down the line and all that stuff. But so I have kept that expedited mindset throughout my career. And that doesn't mean I price everything like that, but it's just the mindset. It's the service, right? And it's the service of, I know we have 3 days to get it here, but my team is like here. I'm like, hey, is that one covered yet? Hey, do we have a truck on that? Hey, what's going on with that one? It's like, whoa, it doesn't pick up till, this, that, and the other. So I spent my time as a domestic freight forwarder for many years, just loved it, stepped away and did some just pure sales for another company, got out of transportation completely. But like a lot of people's story, if they ever step away, there's something that always happens where you get pulled back in. And so I got pulled back into transportation and worked for just a pure broker. And that's really where I learned another side of it, the broker side of it. And then really Sparrow was birthed from just my hunger and understanding that there's opportunity in this business, and there is a need for service-minded brokers in the game who love transportation, who love people, employees that come on, and they're willing to teach others about transportation, doing it the right way. And that filters down to the clients. Clients deserve good brokers. Carriers deserve to work with good brokers. And so really Sparrow was just, like I said, a culmination of my 15 years experience, just knowing that there is an opportunity and a need for a broker that's willing to be a light in the industry, where brokers unfortunately haven't done themselves a very good service over years of how they operate, but there's so many good ones out there. And so really, if I'm the first broker doing it, but I know I'm not, but I just truly believe that if you do what you say you're going to do, and you are honest, and you're looking out for the best interest of the client and not yourself, greater than yourself, you will be successful. Because anybody that you bring on when you're presenting your services, they're going to know you're genuine. They're going to know you care about them. So, Sparrow, the name itself, comes from Matthew 10:31 is where I came up with the name. And just, I've been through a journey, and the Lord has provided through that. So, I mean, the Sparrow itself is just a reminder that no matter what's going on, he will take care of you. The verse is just speaks to that, to where he takes care of the sparrow. How much more important are you than the sparrow? So don't worry about it. So it's just a reminder that, hey, it's going to be all right. And that's what we want to be. We want the Sparrow Logistics, like the bird and the symbol, to be more than just a name, but be a symbol. So when people, have that symbol on their shirt, they're like, hey, it's a reminder. It's a reminder that, hey, it's going to be all right. We'll get it taken care of. And that trickles down. I mean, that comes into the day-to-day with trucks. You're going to have trucks breaking down and things like that. And I just tell my people, I'm like, hey, we are not like, this isn't somebody on the operating table. Things are going to happen. This is freight. We're moving freight. We're humans. We're dealing with humans. Have the conversation. So really, where I'm really looking to be that brokerage that breaks the mold in a very positive way, redefining an industry that I just truly love. I have fun doing it. I have fun talking about it. And that, the clients feel it, the carriers feel it, the employees feel it. So it's just, positively impact an industry that I just love so much. And, it's a career that I don't see an end. I mean, it's like I say, I'm pretty sure transportation is dang near recession proof.
Gonna be there for a while, yeah. So I love your backstory. I honestly love where the Sparrow came from, and even just how you're trying to bleed your expedited, giving back, genuine mindset into your culture as well. I'm sure starting a brokerage in a disrupted supply chain through COVID, life is challenging. There's a lot of things that you've learned over the course of how old is Sparrow? Is it 8 months, 9 months?
So it's got 8 months. It's 8 months old.
Okay. So in the 8 months you've been open, give us an understanding of the challenges that you've faced, maybe from, hiring employees, how many employees you have, but even from, a financial aspect. How are you gaining credit? How do you get carriers to trust you to haul loads for you? Walk us through the challenges that you've faced and how you've overcome those. That'd be awesome, just to understand it.
Yeah. So starting a brokerage, it's, there's obviously steps that you got to take, get your MC number, you get the insurance and all that stuff. And, one of the things, you come with a plan, like you got to sit down, you got to have a business plan. What does it look like? What's your projections going to look like? And those aren't going to be perfect, but those are the things that that's what you got to present to, in my case, investors, that, hey, this is what we're looking at. And they're looking at numbers, but they're also, looking at me. What do I like? How, like, the passion that I have, and just the person that I am, they're staking me. They're staking the company. They're staking me. So, that's the biggest hurdle, because you need capital. You need capital to get going. You're going to need some line of credit to get your carriers paid. I mean, you're going to need your logins, and, you're going to need that subscription to eCarrier check. But yeah, I mean, once you got your financials set up, you're like, all right, this is what I'm operating on. And then it's, how are you going to infiltrate as a new broker into some would call a very saturated sector of the economy.
Sure.
You know, there's thousands of brokers, there's
Yep.
hundreds of thousands of carriers. How are you going to separate yourself apart? And I don't know, I can't speak for anybody else, but really, my passion, how genuine I am with this, and that I truly believe that clients deserve better services from their brokers, and that clients that say they only onboard assets, I believe that they're doing themselves a disservice, because there's no way an asset can be everywhere they need at any, the unpredictable supply chain, especially with COVID. Like, your assets are only going to be operating in a certain area. And when over 95% of the MCs out there are less than 3 trucks, you need a good broker in your back pocket. And, that's where I truly believe that opportunity is for a good broker who does, we're built on the statements, problem solved, promises kept. I believe that with my whole heart. My team believes that. It's on our staple of our website. I mean, that's what really the foundation that we've built off of. So overcoming the negative connotation of a broker, you're always going to have that, especially if you don't have a relationship, with the person, you're starting fresh, which, we're having to do. And it's just, well, who are you? Well, and then they're like, oh, you've only been around for 2 months or 3 months, but it's like, you have to show your expertise. And that's a pretty small window of time that you have somebody's attention. So how are you going to communicate, call it your elevator speech, how you're going to get their attention, and why should they work with you? You're selling yourself. Right. You're selling, I tell my guys, it's the brand. You believe in the brand, and you believe in the service, and you believe that you're helping people, you're gonna knock it out. And you know what? Not all the clients are gonna be, I give them the free. It's like, hey, if at the end of the day a client is just berating you, and I mean, that's not a good fit. It's got to be a good fit. It's got to be a mutual fit there. And that's where you get down to, you got to value the relationship more than the transaction. And that's really what I've been honing in on is, so, I've been at places to where that's about the transaction. You work kind of meeting, and then it's like, you get the sale, and then it's like, I'm done, on to the next one. And you really just kind of, forget about them, but you never take time to build that relationship. And I mean, those relationships take time, and trust takes time. So overcoming just being what in their eyes, a new MC, and how you're separate from other brokers out there. You have the common objections you're going to hear when you're talking to a client is, we don't work with brokers. Through all this, I won't get down, but it's like, ask questions. Okay. What is it about brokers that you don't like? Right. And then they'll treat you like the union representative of brokers, and then put on your helmet and it's punch. Right. But it comes down, you just hear it's the common themes: no communication, not doing what you say you're going to do. It's just, it's pretty simple stuff that these clients need. It's simple. So, just overcoming that objection and communicating that you are an expert. And the last thing not the last thing, but one of the things is, you gotta separate, like, any broker worth their salt can arrange driving and a reefer, right?
Sure.
What else can you do? So it's like, you gotta be thinking of something else. Maybe you have a technology that somebody else doesn't have or isn't using. Maybe you have a whole bunch of carrier relationships that are outside the board, because again, clients are catching on. They know that it's DAT truck stop, right? Are the big players. It's just like, you're going to hear that objection. All you're going to do is post it up on the boards, blah, blah, But it's like, okay, well, sounds like you work with other brokers. How many do you have? If they got 12 brokers, it's probably don't chase your tail. You want to find somebody that's got a handful and that values that. And those clients are out there. It takes some time investment. So, once you have all that basis of, how am I going to pay the carriers? How am I going to get my name out there? Why should they work with me? Then it's just, pick up the phone. You have, there's so many tools out there. Pick up the phone, send them, separate yourself some way, send them a card, handwritten card. I mean, that's something that, I do, it's simple, but, there's just not a lot of people that are doing it. But
as an owner in the last 8 months, mentioned something prior to us, pushing record. You said, I need to have more patience. Talk to me about talk to me about, where your expectations were in 8 months, and even just, how are you developing that patience? And even I appreciated where you mentioned, you hold yourself to a different value or a different level of accountability. Hit on that really, because I know a lot of people, sometimes lose patience or don't hold themselves to the high value. Can talk through that with me a little bit.
yeah, well, there's a reason why you put together for me, there's a reason why you put together a 3-year projection, right? Obviously you want to be at year 3 by, month 8.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you're not, but it's the expectation of, I know what opportunities are out there, and I know that a client will value us so much and we could help so much. And I am like passionate about that. And when you get the phone hung up on you or the door slammed, it's just like, like, man, I missed something. I didn't get my point across. And it's more of like, I'm not going to be able to help that person. And, that bothers me. But at the end of the day, that's their choice. But, the patience comes from, you're not gonna, like, maybe you will, I don't know, maybe you'll stumble on a 1-call whale, you'll land somehow, you find, you catch somebody heading out to vacation, and they're just, oh yeah, we'll sign you up, boom, and all of a sudden you get your logins to a bid board. Yeah. And all this freight, right? Yeah. But it, that is, whales are out there, but it's having the patience. Those take the longest, and I think those having that expectation of, take it for what it will. I don't want to get beat up by your subscribers by saying this, but I believe the easier it is to get set up with a client, the less fruit there is there.
Yeah.
If you're totally wrong, maybe I am, but the deals that take longer to close and longer and more hoops to jump through usually produce the most fruit. So you gotta find those, and they're out there, and you have to be excited about, you gotta make sure you're showing your excitement for your business development guys who are, maybe they're getting the easy signups, right? Maybe they're getting those portal logins. You got to be excited about it. And I tell them that, I'm like, I just tell them, like, it's going to take, you got to develop it. It's going to take some development. Anybody, like, if there is, I'll just say this piece of advice. If there is a portal or a login, you got to find a human behind it. You got to find somebody to have a relationship with, because you're going to have to, something's going to happen, and they're going to have to know who you are. So just having the patience to develop the deals and not to be discouragement. I heard this from a mentor the other day. he told me that discouragement is part of owning a business, and it's going to happen. It's part of the playbook. And that really hit home with me, because it's like, okay, this isn't abnormal to feel this way. But don't wallow in it.
Yeah.
The discouragement is just, again, back to my expectation. It's just like my expectation to be at, our 18-month goal by this time. Right. And that's just a big target. You got numbers, and what you're going to hit. And when you don't hit them, you can't look at a failure, because you look back at the month before that, and you probably got more revenue than the previous month. You probably got more gross profit than the previous month. And that's going to come in incremental chunks. And you gotta be all right with that. Because I've seen it will turn, all of a sudden it's going to jump exponentially. You're going to start growing exponentially, and then you're going to have to start hiring, or you're going to have a whole new set of problems, good problems. But just be patient with your team, but accountability with your team. I have a team of 3. I ask them to hold me accountable. I hold them accountable. We have goals. They tell me what their goals are. I can set, and I speak some wisdom to it, like, hey, I think you could be here, or I see you here, or, this is what it's showing here. Just having that conversation, because at the end of it, I go, okay, now, just so we're on the same page, you have given me permission to hold you accountable for these goals. And that's a really easy conversation to have in your one-on-ones. Yeah. You're not having at least weekly one-on-ones with your teams. And as a startup, like for me, if we're having multiple on the floor huddles, and just there's that communication is key. You see where everyone's at. We have I recommend having a big old whiteboard or something that you can have on the board. And I mean, it's really just my brain, and like, you're just writing random thoughts on there, random accounts, and you're just going off like that. So, yeah, I mean, the challenges that any new broker is going to face is, the financial piece. You get that figured out, you're good. If you're going to hire, if you're starting out in your basement, or if you're going to, go the route, the route that I did is I hired immediately. So I, immediately just brought people on. I budgeted for that. I believed, me plus another 3 guys, we're going to be able to touch more people, have more impact. And then when you're starting to route freight, we're going to be able to handle more freight, make more contacts. To each their own, and that's just the way that I'm going. And we're getting ready to grow out of the space that we're in now, and we're looking to hire another couple guys, and we're moving across the parking lot here. But be patient. It's so cliche to say Rome wasn't built in a day, but I mean, but it's like the West wasn't settled in a day, or whatever. Really bad examples, because of a lot of bad stuff happened. But if you have the expectation that your brokerage is going to just, from month 1 to month 2, or month 3 to month, 6, that you're gonna, that you're not gonna have, that you're gonna be, in the black, or you got to be okay with being in the red, because it will multiply, sooner than you think. And it takes time to develop your client relationships. Tell my team, it will not take 100 clients to have a successful brokerage.
Wow.
It won't. You could do it. You could do it with 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then just grow from there. There's plenty there's plenty of good clients that will appreciate a good brokerage. And if you do what you say you're going to do, you're going to have success. And
Yeah.
if your team believes in that and they see it, they're going to have the same values as well. So,
I appreciate that, Zach. I definitely think you put some nuggets in here for brokers, for dispatchers, even for carriers. Honestly, patience is everything when you're starting a business, and I love your insight. Zach, can you share with the audience, how can they get a hold of you, or where do people find you at, in a marketing sense? How do people find you?
yeah, so we can go to our website, sparrowlogistics.co.
Okay.
It is .co, not .com. It is
Okay.
.co. And really, I'm proud of the website. I think, I believe our developer just knocked it out of the park with it. There's a about us. You can meet the team. Our blog page is the flight log, a little play on the words there, but we got some blogs out there. You can just learn about us, but then mostly just what's going on in the industry, some good, some might say, if you don't like logistics, it probably bore you, but
Yeah.
that's out there. And then there's always, there's a couple buttons where you can get in touch with us at any time, and it's the hello@sparrowlogistics.co.
Nice.
And again, it's the .co, just because, we're hip, we're
Yep.
new,
I appreciate that. Awesome.
But yeah.
Well, Zach, thank you for your time today. Thank you for just giving us some insight. And thank you. I appreciate all your time. So we will talk to you later. Okay.
Hey man, I appreciate it, my man.
All right. Thanks, Zach.
Yep, we'll see you.
Take care.